Their mother is gone. She abandoned them for the army. I'm their mom now, the stepmother told her friends on Mother's Day morning. The triplets sat quietly, missing their real mother. The doorbell rang. The father answered. His face went white. A woman in military uniform stood there. "Hello, David. I'm home." The triplets heard her voice. "Mommy!" They flew past everyone, knocking over chairs, leaping into her arms. The stepmother's jaw dropped. "You told me she was never coming back." The soldier held her children tight. "I will always come back for my babies." But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now, subscribe to the channel and let's get started. These children finally have a real mother now. Me. Jennifer Walsh smiled as she spoke these words to her guests. She wore a new white dress. Pink flowers covered the dining room table. It was Mother's Day morning in Austin, Texas. Jennifer felt proud and happy. She did not know her entire life was about to fall apart. In the living room, 6-year-old Emma Morrison sat on the floor with her brother and sister. Jake and Lily sat next to her. Emma held a small photo in her hands. She hid it under a couch cushion when she heard footsteps. The photo showed a woman with brown hair and green eyes. The woman was smiling. It was their mother. Their real mother. "I miss her," Emma whispered to Jake and Lily. "Me too," Lily said quietly. Her voice was so soft that no one else could hear. Jake nodded. He did not say anything. He just held his sister's hands. Earlier that morning, David Morrison woke up at 7 o'clock. He walked downstairs. His wife Jennifer was already awake. She stood in the kitchen making pancakes. Balloons hung from the ceiling. Pink and white ribbons decorated the walls. "Good morning," Jennifer said with a big smile. "Everything needs to be perfect today." "It will be," David said. He poured himself coffee. His hands were steady. His voice was calm. He had been lying for 2 years. He was very good at it now. David was 34 years old. He had blonde hair and blue eyes. He worked as a sales manager at a tech company in downtown Austin. People liked him. He knew how to make people trust him. He smiled easily. He said the right things. But David was hiding a terrible secret. 2 years ago, his wife Sarah joined the army. She deployed to Germany. Before she left, she kissed Emma, Lily, and Jake. She promised to write letters every week. She promised to call whenever she could. She told them she loved them more than anything in the world. But David was angry. He felt abandoned. He did not want Sarah to go. When she left, he decided to erase her from their lives completely. He blocked her phone number on his cell phone. He blocked her number on the house phone. He blocked her on all computers and tablets. When letters arrived in the mail, David threw them away. He did not open them. He just put them in the trash. When Sarah sent emails, David deleted them before anyone could see. The triplets cried every night for months. They asked when Mommy would call. David told them the same lie over and over. "Your mother does not want to talk to you. She chose the army instead of you. She does not love you anymore." The children believed him. They were only 4 years old when Sarah left. They did not understand. They thought their mommy stopped loving them. They felt sad and confused. Eventually, they stopped asking about her. 1 year ago, David met Jennifer at a coffee shop on 6th Street in downtown Austin. Jennifer was 29 years old. She had long blonde hair and kind brown eyes. She worked as a teacher at an elementary school. She was lonely. Her last relationship ended badly. When David started talking to her, she felt hopeful. David told Jennifer he was a single father. He said his wife joined the military and disappeared. He said she cut all contact with the family. He said she chose her career over her children. Jennifer felt sorry for him. She thought David was a good man trying to raise 3 children alone. She wanted to help. They dated for 6 months. Jennifer met Emma, Lily, and Jake. She tried hard to bond with them. She read them stories. She cooked their favorite meals. She helped with homework. But the triplets stayed distant. They were polite, but sad. Jennifer thought they just needed time. 6 months ago, David and Jennifer got married at a small ceremony in Austin. Jennifer quit her teaching job. She became a full-time stepmother. She believed she was saving a broken family. She did not know David lied about everything. Now it was Mother's Day. Jennifer invited her mother, her sister, and 3 close friends to brunch at their house on Maple Street. The house was large, with a big front porch and a green lawn. Jennifer spent all morning decorating. She put pink flowers in glass vases. She hung balloons in the dining room. She made pancakes, scrambled eggs, and fruit salad. Her guests arrived at 10 o'clock in the morning. Jennifer's mother hugged her. Her sister brought a gift. Her 3 friends smiled and complimented the decorations. Everyone sat down at the dining room table. David sat at the head of the table. He acted cheerful. He poured orange juice for everyone. He laughed at jokes. He played the role of devoted husband perfectly. Jennifer stood up and cleared her throat. "I want to say something," she announced. Everyone looked at her. These children had no real mother for 2 years. She abandoned them for the army. She never called. She never wrote. She did not care about them. But I am here now. I am their mother. I will never leave them. Her guests clapped. Her mother wiped away a tear. Jennifer felt proud. In the living room, Emma heard every word. She looked at Jake and Lily. They all felt the same thing. Sadness, confusion, guilt. They did not love Jennifer the way they loved their real mother. But they did not say anything. They just sat quietly on the floor. "Do you think Mommy really forgot about us?" Lily whispered. "I don't know," Emma said. She pulled out the hidden photo again. She stared at her mother's face. "I hope not." Back in the dining room, Jennifer served pancakes and fruit salad. She showed her friends photos from her wedding. David's phone buzzed on the table. He looked at the screen. It showed a blocked number. He pressed ignore and put the phone back in his pocket. One of Jennifer's friends walked into the living room. She smiled at the triplets. "Are you happy with your new mom?" she asked. Emma did not answer. Lily looked down at the floor. Jake shook his head slightly, but the woman did not notice. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. It was loud and clear. Everyone in the dining room stopped talking. David's face changed. The color drained from his skin. His smile disappeared. "I'll get it," he said quietly. His voice shook just a little. He walked to the front door. His heart pounded in his chest. He opened the door slowly. Standing on the front porch was a woman in full military uniform. She had brown hair tied in a neat ponytail. She had green eyes. She stood straight and tall. She looked directly at David. It was Sarah Morrison. Sarah looked directly at David and said firmly, "Hello, David. I'm home for good." David stood frozen in the doorway. He could not move. He could not speak. Sarah stared at him with hard eyes. She did not smile. She did not look happy to see him. She looked angry. "Are you going to let me in?" Sarah asked. Her voice was firm and cold. Before David could answer, a small voice came from inside the house. "Mommy?" Emma whispered from the living room. She heard the voice at the front door. She knew that voice. She dropped the photo she was holding. It fell to the floor. "Mommy!" Lily screamed at the top of her lungs. She jumped up from the couch. Jake stood up so fast, he knocked into the coffee table. A glass vase filled with pink flowers tipped over. Water spilled across the table and onto the floor. Glass shattered. But Jake did not stop. He ran toward the front door. All three children pushed past David. Emma reached Sarah first. She crashed into her mother's legs and wrapped her arms around them. Lily and Jake followed immediately. They all grabbed onto Sarah at the same time. Sarah dropped to her knees. She wrapped her arms around all three children. Tears streamed down her face. "My babies," Sarah said. Her voice broke. "My babies, I missed you so much." Emma sobbed so hard her whole body shook. Lily could not stop crying. Jake buried his face in Sarah's shoulder. Sarah kissed their heads over and over. She held them so tight. She did not want to let go. "I wrote you every week," Sarah said through her tears. "Did you get my letters? Did you read them?" Emma pulled back and looked at her mother's face. Her eyes were red and wet. "What letters?" she asked. Her voice was confused. Sarah's face changed. She looked shocked. "What do you mean? I sent letters every single week for 2 years. I wrote to you all the time." "We never got any letters," Lily said quietly. She wiped her nose with her hand. Sarah looked up at David. He stood in the doorway. His face was pale. His hands were shaking. Sarah's eyes filled with fury. "Where are the letters, David?" Sarah asked. Her voice was low and dangerous. David opened his mouth, but no words came out. Jennifer appeared in the hallway. She walked slowly toward the front door. Her white dress swished as she moved. She saw the children clinging to a woman in military uniform. She saw the broken vase. She saw water all over the floor. She stopped walking. Her face showed confusion. "Who are you?" Jennifer asked quietly. Sarah stood up slowly. The triplets held onto her legs. They would not let go. Sarah looked at Jennifer. She studied her face. She looked at the white dress. She looked at the Mother's Day decorations behind her. "I'm Sarah Morrison," Sarah said clearly. "I'm their mother. Who are you?" Jennifer's mouth opened. She looked at David. Then she looked back at Sarah. "I'm Jennifer. I'm David's wife. I'm their stepmother." Her voice shook as she spoke. "He told me you were never coming back. He said you did not want them. He said you abandoned everyone." Sarah's eyes went wide. She turned to David. Her face turned red with anger. "You told her what?" David held up his hands. "Sarah, please, let me explain." "Explain?" Sarah's voice rose. "Explain how you blocked my phone number? Explain how you never let the kids talk to me? Explain how you lied to everyone?" Jennifer put her hand over her mouth. She felt sick to her stomach. "You lied to me?" she asked David. "About everything?" David reached for Jennifer's hand. "Jennifer, please, just listen." Jennifer pulled her hand away fast. She stepped backward. "Did you lie to me?" she asked again. Her voice was louder now. David did not answer. He just looked at the floor. From the dining room, Jennifer's mother appeared. Her sister came next. The three friends followed behind them. They all stood in the hallway watching. No one knew what to say. The room was completely silent, except for the sound of the triplets crying. Sarah knelt down again. She looked at Emma, Lily, and Jake. "Listen to me," she said gently. "I tried to contact you every single day. I called. I wrote letters. I sent emails. Someone stopped all of it. Do you understand?" "Daddy?" Jake asked. He looked at his father. His eyes were full of tears. "Did you stop Mommy from talking to us?" David's face went red. "I was trying to protect you. I was trying to give you stability. Your mother left us." "I did not leave you." Sarah stood up fast. Her voice was sharp and strong. "I deployed. I served my country. I told you I would come back. I promised the children I would come back. And you erased me." Jennifer backed up against the wall. She felt dizzy. She looked at her mother. She looked at her sister. They all had the same expression: shock, horror, confusion. "I need to sit down," Jennifer's mother said quietly. But no one moved toward the dining room. Everyone just stood in the hallway. Emma looked up at Sarah. "You really wrote us letters?" "Yes, baby. Every single week. Sometimes twice a week. I sent you photos. I told you about my days. I told you I loved you and missed you." "We never saw them," Lily said. "We asked Daddy when you would call. He said you did not want to talk to us anymore." Sarah closed her eyes. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. When she opened her eyes, she looked at David with pure fury. "How could you do this to them? How could you tell our children I did not love them?" David's jaw tightened. "You chose the army over us. You left. I served my country. That does not mean I stopped being their mother." Jennifer pushed herself away from the wall. She walked quickly toward the bedroom. Her whole body was shaking. David turned to follow her. "Jennifer, wait! Don't touch me!" Jennifer shouted. She ran into the bedroom and slammed the door. Everyone heard the lock click. Jennifer's mother looked at David. Her face showed disgust. "We're leaving," she said coldly. She looked at her daughter's sister and 3 friends. "Come on, now!" The 4 women walked toward the back door. They did not say goodbye. They did not look at David. They just left. The back door closed with a loud bang. Sarah sat down on the floor in the hallway. The triplets immediately sat in her lap. All 3 of them tried to fit. They held onto her uniform. They put their heads on her shoulders. They did not want to let her go. "Where have you been, Mommy?" Emma asked. "Why did you not come sooner?" Sarah stroked Emma's hair. "I was in Germany. I was working for the army. I tried to come home many times, but I could not leave until my assignment was finished. I called every single day, but someone blocked my number. I sent letters every week, but someone threw them away." The 3 children slowly turned their heads. They looked at their father. David stood alone in the middle of the hallway. His hands hung at his sides. His face was red. He looked like he wanted to disappear. "You threw away Mommy's letters?" Jake asked. His voice was small and sad. David opened his mouth. He closed it. He did not know what to say. "Answer your son," Sarah said coldly. David swallowed hard. "I thought it was better for you to move on. I thought it would hurt less if you forgot about her." "You had no right," Sarah said. Her voice was shaking with anger. "You had no right to make that choice. I am their mother." Emma started crying again. Lily buried her face in Sarah's chest. Jake looked at his father with wide, confused eyes. From the bedroom, they heard Jennifer crying. David took a step toward the bedroom door. Then he stopped. He looked at Sarah and the triplets on the floor. He looked at the broken vase and the spilled water. He looked at the Mother's Day decorations that now felt like a cruel joke. "We need to talk," Sarah said quietly, "but not here, not in front of them." She looked down at the triplets clinging to her. She could feel their hearts beating fast. She could feel how scared they were, how confused, how hurt. Sarah looked at Emma, Lily, and Jake and said softly, "We need to talk about what your father did." Sarah pulled her phone from her pocket. She kept one arm around the triplets. With her free hand, she dialed a number. The children watched her face carefully. They did not want to move away from her. "Mom," Sarah said into the phone, "I need you. Can you come to Austin right now?" There was a pause. Sarah listened. Then she spoke again. "I'm at the house on Maple Street. Yes, it's time. Please hurry." Sarah ended the call. She looked at Emma, Lily, and Jake. "Your grandmother is coming. She lives in San Antonio. She will be here soon." "Grandma Barbara?" Emma asked. "We have not seen her in a long time." "I know, baby. That is going to change now." David stood near the wall. He had not moved. His face was still pale. "Sarah, we need to talk privately, not in front of the children." "No," Sarah said firmly. "I am not leaving them alone with you, not for 1 second." David's jaw clenched. "They are my children, too." "You lost that right when you erased me from their lives." Jennifer's crying got quieter in the bedroom. Then the door opened. Jennifer stepped out. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her white dress had a wrinkle across the front. She had been sitting on the floor. She looked at Sarah. Then she looked at David. "I need to know the truth," Jennifer said. Her voice was hoarse from crying. "Did you lie to me about everything?" David did not answer. "Answer her," Sarah said coldly. David rubbed his face with his hands. "I told you what I thought was true. Sarah left us. She chose the military." "Stop lying!" Jennifer's voice broke. "Just stop. I heard what she said. She wrote letters. She called. She tried to reach her children. You blocked her. You threw away the letters. You lied." David's face turned red. "I was protecting the children from the pain of missing her." "You were protecting yourself," Sarah said. "You were angry I left. You wanted to punish me. So you used our children as weapons." The triplets sat very still in Sarah's lap. They listened to every word. Jake's bottom lip trembled. Lily held Emma's hand tight. 1 hour later, a car pulled into the driveway. The front door was still open. A woman in her 60s walked up the porch steps. She had gray hair cut short. She wore jeans and a blue shirt. Her face was kind but serious. It was Barbara, Sarah's mother. Barbara walked through the door and saw Sarah on the floor with the triplets. Her face softened. "Oh, my babies," she said. She knelt down next to them. The children looked at her. They remembered her face. But it had been a long time. "Hi, Grandma," Emma said quietly. Barbara hugged all 3 of them. Then she stood up and hugged Sarah. "I'm here now," Barbara said. "Everything is going to be okay." Barbara looked at David. Her expression changed. It became cold and hard. "You did exactly what we thought you did." David's eyes narrowed. "What do you mean, we?" Barbara reached into her purse. She pulled out a folder. It was thick with papers. "I have been talking to Sarah this entire time. I knew you were blocking her calls. I knew you were throwing away her letters. Sarah asked me to wait until she came home to confront you. She wanted to see her children first." Jennifer walked closer. "You knew? This whole time?" Barbara nodded. "Yes. Sarah contacted me when she realized David blocked her number. I became the connection between her and the truth." Barbara opened the folder. She pulled out printed papers. "These are emails between me and Sarah. 2 years of emails. She told me everything. She told me about the letters you sent back marked wrong address." Barbara looked at David. "That was cruel." "Let me see," Jennifer said. Her voice shook. Barbara handed her several printed emails. Jennifer read them slowly. Her face grew paler with each page. One email said, "Mom, I sent another letter to the kids today. I hope David lets them read it this time. I included photos of the base. I want them to see where I am." Another email said, "I tried calling again, blocked. I tried his work number. He hung up on me. What do I do? How do I reach my babies?" Another email said, "I am coming home in 3 months. Please do not tell David. I want to surprise the children. I want to see their faces when they realize I never forgot them." Jennifer's hands shook as she read. Tears fell onto the papers. She looked up at David. "You told me she never called. You told me she never wrote. You said she did not care." "I thought—" "You lied!" Jennifer screamed. She threw the papers at him. They scattered across the floor. "You used me. You made me think I was helping a single father. You made me quit my job. You made me believe I was saving these children. But you were just replacing their mother with me." David bent down and picked up one of the papers. He looked at it but said nothing. Barbara pulled out more documents. "These are phone records, Sarah's phone records. She called your number 67 times in the first 3 months after she deployed. Every single call was blocked. After that, she called my number instead." Jennifer covered her mouth with her hand. She felt like she was going to be sick. Barbara pulled out letters. They were in envelopes. The envelopes had stamps and addresses written in neat handwriting. "These are copies of letters Sarah sent. She kept copies of everything. Look at the dates. Every week for 2 years. Sometimes 2 letters in 1 week." Jennifer took one of the letters. She opened it carefully. She read out loud, "Dear Emma, Lily, and Jake. Today I saw a bird that reminded me of the ones in our backyard. I thought about the time we fed them together. I miss you so much. I will be home soon. Love always, Mommy." Jennifer started crying again. "I did not know. I swear I did not know." "I believe you," Sarah said quietly. "He lied to you too." Barbara put the papers back in the folder. She looked at Jennifer. "You are a victim in this too. David manipulated you. He used your kindness against you." Jennifer looked at the triplets. They stared at her with wide eyes. "I am so sorry," Jennifer whispered. "I tried to love you. I tried to be good to you. But I was trying to replace someone who never left. I did not know." Emma did not say anything. Lily looked down. Jake leaned closer to Sarah. Jennifer wiped her eyes. She walked to the bedroom. Everyone heard her opening drawers. She came back 5 minutes later carrying a suitcase. It was packed full. She had changed out of the white dress. She now wore jeans and a t-shirt. "Where are you going?" David asked. "Away from you," Jennifer said. Her voice was flat and cold. "I will come back for the rest of my things later. I cannot be here right now. Jennifer, please, we can talk about this." "There is nothing to talk about. You lied to me. You used me. You destroyed a family for your own selfish reasons." Jennifer looked at Sarah. "I will testify. If you take him to court, I will tell them everything he told me. I will tell them every lie." "Thank you," Sarah said. Jennifer looked at the triplets one more time. "I hope you can forgive me someday. I really did care about you. I just did not know the truth." She walked to the front door. She did not look back. She walked down the porch steps. Her car was parked on the street. She put her suitcase in the trunk. Then she got in the car and drove away. The house was silent. David stood alone in the middle of the living room. Sarah sat on the floor with the triplets. Barbara stood near the door, holding the folder of evidence. "I am taking the children with me," Sarah said. She stood up slowly. The triplets stood with her. They held onto her hands. "We are going to stay with my mother in San Antonio for a few days." "You cannot just take them," David said. "I have legal rights. I am their father." "And I am their mother," Sarah said. "The mother you tried to erase. We will let the court decide what happens next." Barbara walked to the staircase. "I will help them pack some clothes." Emma, Lily, and Jake followed Barbara upstairs. Their small footsteps echoed in the quiet house. Sarah stayed downstairs with David. They stood several feet apart. They did not speak. They just looked at each other. Upstairs, Barbara helped the children pack small bags. She folded their clothes carefully. She asked them which toys they wanted to bring. Emma chose a stuffed bear. Lily chose a book. Jake chose a small car. "Are we coming back?" Jake asked. Barbara knelt down. I do not know yet, sweetheart, but your mommy will take care of you. You are safe with her. They came back downstairs. Each child carried a small backpack. Sarah took their hands. She looked at David one more time. You will hear from my lawyer. Sarah, Barbara, and the triplets walked out the front door. They walked down the porch steps. Barbara had driven her car from San Antonio. It was parked behind Sarah's rental car. Sarah opened the back door. She helped Emma, Lily, and Jake into the back seat. She buckled their seat belts. Barbara got in the driver's seat. Sarah sat in the passenger seat. As they drove away, Jake looked out the back window. He saw their house getting smaller. He saw David standing in the doorway, watching them leave. Jake turned to Sarah in the front seat and asked quietly, Mommy, are we ever going back to Daddy? Sarah turned in her seat. She looked at Jake through the gap between the front seats. His small face was worried. She reached back and touched his knee gently. I don't know yet, baby, Sarah said softly. Right now, we are going to stay with Grandma Barbara. We will figure everything out together. Okay? Jake nodded slowly. He did not look convinced. Lily leaned against him. Emma stared out the window as the houses passed by. The drive from Austin to San Antonio took 1 hour and 20 minutes. Barbara drove carefully. Sarah sat quietly in the passenger seat. She looked out the window, but she was not really seeing anything. Her mind was full of anger and pain and plans. When they arrived at Barbara's house, it was almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The house was small and painted yellow. It had a front porch with 2 chairs. There were flowers in pots by the front door. Barbara unlocked the door and held it open. Come in, my loves, Barbara said. You must be hungry. The triplets walked inside. They looked around. The house smelled like cinnamon. There were photos on the walls. Some of the photos showed Sarah when she was young. Some showed the triplets as babies. I remember this house, Emma said quietly. We came here before. Yes, you did, Barbara said. You were 4 years old. That was right before your mommy deployed. Sarah put her hand on Emma's head. We will come here more often now, I promise. Barbara made sandwiches for lunch. She put them on plates with apple slices. The triplets sat at the kitchen table. They ate slowly. They were tired. Too much had happened in one morning. After lunch, Barbara showed them the guest bedroom. There were 2 beds. You will sleep here, Barbara said. Emma and Lily can share one bed. Jake can have the other. Is that okay? The children nodded. They were too tired to talk much. Sarah helped them unpack their small backpacks. She folded their clothes and put them in a drawer. Then she sat on the bed with them. Do you have questions? Sarah asked. You can ask me anything. Lily spoke first. Why did Daddy lie to us? Sarah took a deep breath. I don't know, sweetheart. Sometimes adults make very bad choices. Your daddy was angry when I left for the army. Instead of dealing with his anger the right way, he decided to hurt me by keeping you away from me. But we were sad, Jake said. We cried every night. I know, and that breaks my heart. You should never have been sad. I was always thinking about you, every single day. Emma looked at her mother's face. Can we see the letters now? The ones you wrote? Yes, I have copies of all of them. I will show you, but maybe not today. Today has been very hard. Let's rest first. The triplets lay down on the beds. Sarah covered them with blankets. She kissed each of their foreheads. I love you, she whispered. Within 10 minutes, all 3 children were asleep. Sarah walked back to the kitchen. Barbara was washing dishes. Sarah sat at the table. She put her face in her hands. I need a lawyer, Sarah said. A good one. I know someone, Barbara said. Her name is Rachel Gomez. She handles family law cases in Austin. She is very good, very tough. Can you call her? I will call her right now. Barbara dried her hands. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. She spoke quietly. Sarah heard her say the words parental alienation and emergency custody. After 5 minutes, Barbara hung up. She can see you on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. Her office is in downtown Austin. Thank you, Mom. Barbara sat down next to Sarah. She took her daughter's hand. You are going to win this. You have the truth on your side. That night, Sarah could not sleep. She lay in Barbara's guest room on a small couch. She stared at the ceiling. She thought about Emma, Lily, and Jake. She thought about all the nights they cried for her. She thought about David's lies. Her sadness turned into determination. She would fight for her children. And she would win. The next 3 days passed slowly. Sarah spent every moment with the triplets. They went to the park. They watched movies. They colored pictures. Slowly, the children began to relax. They smiled more. They laughed a little. But at night, they still had bad dreams. Sarah heard them crying. She went to their room and held them until they fell back asleep. On Wednesday morning, Sarah drove to Austin alone. Barbara stayed with the children. Sarah wore her military uniform. She wanted the lawyer to see that she was professional and serious. She arrived at the office building at 9:45 in the morning. The office was on the 4th floor. The door had a sign that said, Rachel Gomez, Family Law Attorney. Sarah opened the door. Inside was a small waiting room with chairs and a desk. A young woman sat at the desk. I'm Sarah Morrison, Sarah said. I have an appointment at 10 o'clock. Yes, Miss Gomez is expecting you. Please have a seat. She will be right with you. Sarah sat down. Her hands were shaking. She held the folder Barbara had given her. It was full of emails, letters, and phone records. 2 minutes later, a door opened. A woman in her 40s walked out. She had dark hair pulled back in a bun. She wore a gray suit. She smiled at Sarah. Sarah Morrison? The woman asked. Yes. I'm Rachel Gomez. Please come in. Sarah followed Rachel into her office. The office had a large desk, bookshelves full of law books, and 2 chairs facing the desk. Rachel sat behind the desk. Sarah sat across from her. Tell me what happened, Rachel said. She opened a notepad and picked up a pen. Sarah told her everything. She spoke for 20 minutes without stopping. She told Rachel about the deployment, the blocked phone calls, the thrown-away letters, the lies David told the children, the lies David told Jennifer. Rachel listened carefully. She took notes. Her expression grew more serious as Sarah talked. When Sarah finished, Rachel put down her pen. What you are describing is called parental alienation. It is when one parent deliberately damages the relationship between the children and the other parent. In Texas, this is taken very seriously by the courts. Can I get custody? Sarah asked. Yes, I believe you have a very strong case, but I need to see your evidence. Sarah opened the folder. She spread the papers across Rachel's desk. Emails, phone records, letters. Rachel picked up each document and read it carefully. She spent 15 minutes reviewing everything. This is excellent evidence, Rachel said. You kept copies of everything. That will help us tremendously. Sarah reached into her bag. She pulled out a small hard drive. I also have videos. I recorded videos for the children every week. I was going to send them, but David blocked all my digital communication, so I just kept recording them. There are over 100 videos on this drive. Rachel's eyes widened. Can I see one? Sarah opened her laptop. She plugged in the hard drive. She clicked on a video file. A video started playing. It showed Sarah in her military uniform sitting in a small room. She was smiling at the camera. "Hi, Emma, Lily, and Jake." The video, Sarah said, "It's Mommy. I miss you so much today. I saw a dog that looked just like the one we saw at the park last year. Remember? It had brown spots. I thought about you all day. I hope you are being good for Daddy. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. I will see you soon. I promise." The video ended. Rachel was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "This is powerful, very powerful. A judge needs to see these videos." "What do we do now?" Sarah asked. "We file an emergency custody motion. We ask the court to give you primary custody immediately. We present all of this evidence. We showed the judge that David deliberately kept you away from your children. The court does not tolerate parental alienation. How long will it take?" "I can file the motion today. The court will schedule a hearing, usually within 1 to 2 weeks for emergency cases." Sarah felt a weight lift from her chest. "Do it. File it today." Rachel nodded. "I will. I need you to sign some papers. Then I will get to work immediately." Sarah signed the papers. She gave Rachel copies of all her evidence. She left the hard drive with the videos. Rachel promised to call her as soon as the hearing was scheduled. Sarah walked out of the office building. She stood on the sidewalk. She looked up at the sky. It was bright and clear. She felt hope for the first time in 2 years. Her phone rang. She looked at the screen. It was a number she did not recognize. She answered, "Hello? Sarah, it's Jennifer." Sarah was surprised. "Jennifer? I need to talk to you. Can we meet for coffee?" Sarah hesitated. Then she said, "Okay. Where?" "There's a coffee shop on Congress Avenue. Do you know it?" "I can find it. I can be there in 30 minutes." "I'll be there." Sarah got in her car. She drove to Congress Avenue. She found the coffee shop easily. It was small with tables outside. She parked and walked inside. Jennifer was already there. She sat at a table in the corner. She looked different. Her hair was pulled back. She wore no makeup. Her eyes were red. Sarah sat down across from her. "What do you want to talk about?" Jennifer looked down at her coffee cup. "I want to apologize again. And I want to help you." "Help me how?" "I want to testify in court. I want to tell the judge everything David told me, every lie. I want to help you get your children back." Sarah studied Jennifer's face. She saw genuine guilt there. Genuine sadness. "Why would you do that?" "Because it's the right thing to do. Because those children deserve their mother. Because what David did was wrong." Jennifer's voice cracked. "I was part of his plan, even though I did not know it. I need to make it right." "Okay," Sarah said. "Thank you. My lawyer will contact you." Jennifer nodded. She wiped her eyes. "I really did care about them. I hope you believe that." "I do." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Jennifer stood up. "I should go. Good luck, Sarah. I mean that." Jennifer walked out of the coffee shop. Sarah sat alone at the table. Her phone buzzed. It was a text from Rachel. "Hearing scheduled. Monday, 9 a.m., Travis County Courthouse." Sarah looked at the message for a long time. Then she texted back one word: "Ready." 1 week later, Sarah walked into the Travis County Courthouse holding her folder of evidence tight against her chest. The courthouse was large and made of gray stone. Sarah walked through the front doors. Rachel Gomez waited for her inside. Rachel wore a dark blue suit. She held a briefcase in one hand. "Good morning, Sarah," Rachel said. "Are you ready?" "Yes," Sarah said. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. "The hearing is in courtroom 3, second floor. We have a few minutes before it starts. Do you have any questions?" "Will the children be here?" "Yes. They will be interviewed by a child psychologist named Dr. Amy Torres. She will talk to them in a private room." Then she will report to the judge. They will not have to testify in the courtroom." Sarah nodded. She felt relieved. She did not want Emma, Lily, and Jake to sit in front of everyone and talk about their pain. They walked upstairs. Barbara was already there. She sat on a bench in the hallway. She stood up when she saw Sarah. "Where are the kids?" Sarah asked. "They are in a waiting room with a court assistant. They have books and toys. They are okay." Barbara hugged Sarah. "You've got this." Down the hall, another door opened. David walked out. He wore a dark suit and a tie. Next to him was a man in his 50s with gray hair and glasses. That was Mark Stevens, David's lawyer. David saw Sarah. He looked away quickly. A few minutes later, Jennifer arrived. She wore a simple black dress. She looked nervous. She walked up to Sarah and Rachel. "Thank you for coming," Rachel said to Jennifer. "Of course," Jennifer said quietly. At exactly 9 o'clock in the morning, the courtroom doors opened. A bailiff stepped out. "Morrison custody hearing. All parties please enter." Sarah, Rachel, and Barbara walked into the courtroom. David and Mark Stevens entered from the other side. Jennifer followed them. The courtroom had rows of wooden benches. At the front was a large desk where the judge would sit. There was a witness stand next to it. An American flag stood in the corner. "All rise," the bailiff said. "The Honorable Judge Margaret Chen presiding." Everyone stood. A door behind the judge's desk opened. Judge Chen walked in. She was a woman in her 50s with short black hair. She wore black robes. She sat down at her desk. She looked at the papers in front of her. "Please be seated," Judge Chen said. Her voice was firm and clear. Everyone sat down. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest. Rachel opened her briefcase and took out documents. Judge Chen looked up. "This is an emergency custody hearing for the minor children Emma, Lily, and Jake Morrison. Miss Gomez, you represent the mother, Sarah Morrison. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor," Rachel said. She stood up. "Mr. Stevens, you represent the father, David Morrison. Is that correct?" "Yes, Your Honor," Mark Stevens said. He also stood up. "Miss Gomez, you filed the motion. Please present your case." Rachel walked to the front of the courtroom. "Your Honor, my client, Sarah Morrison, served in the United States Army for 2 years. During that time, she was deployed to Germany. She maintained constant communication with this office through letters, phone calls, and emails intended for her children. However, Mr. Morrison blocked all communication. He told the children their mother abandoned them. He told them she did not love them anymore. This is clear parental alienation." Rachel placed a stack of papers on the judge's desk. "These are copies of letters Miss Morrison sent to her children. She sent 1 or 2 letters every week for 2 years. The children never received these letters because Mr. Morrison threw them away." Judge Chen picked up one of the letters. She read it silently. Her expression did not change, but her eyes were serious. Rachel continued, "These are phone records showing that Miss Morrison attempted to call her children 67 times in the first 3 months after deployment. Every call was blocked by Mr. Morrison." She placed more papers on the desk. Judge Chen reviewed them carefully. "Your Honor, I also have video evidence. Miss Morrison recorded video messages for her children every week. She has over 100 videos. May I show 3 of them to the court?" "Yes," Judge Chen said. Rachel set up a laptop on a table. She connected it to a screen. The first video started playing. It showed Sarah in her military uniform sitting in a small room. She smiled at the camera. "Hi, my loves," video Sarah said. "It's Mommy. Today I thought about the time we went to the zoo together. Do you remember the elephants? I miss you so much. I hope you are having a good day. I will be home as soon as I can. I love you with all my heart." The video ended. Rachel played 2 more videos. In each one, Sarah told her children she loved them. She told them she was thinking about them. She promised to come home. Judge Chen watched all 3 videos without speaking. When the last video ended, she looked at David. Her expression was hard. Mark Stevens stood up. "Your Honor, my client was trying to provide stability for the children. Miss Morrison chose to leave the family for 2 years. My client believed it was better for the children to move forward rather than dwell on an absent parent." "Mr. Stevens," Judge Chen said sharply, "are you saying it is acceptable for a parent to block all communication between children and their other parent who is serving in the military?" Mark Stevens hesitated. "Your Honor, my client had concerns about Miss Morrison's mental stability after deployment. He was worried." "Do you have evidence of mental instability?" Judge Chen asked. "We believe." "Do you have evidence? Medical records? Psychiatric evaluations? Anything?" "No, Your Honor, but—" "Then sit down." Mark Stevens sat down. His face was red. Rachel stood up again. "Your Honor, I have Miss Morrison's military service records. They show exemplary performance, no disciplinary actions, no mental health concerns. She received commendations for her work." Rachel handed the records to the judge. Judge Chen read through them. "I would also like to call Jennifer Walsh to testify," Rachel said. "Proceed." Jennifer walked to the witness stand. The bailiff asked her to raise her right hand. "Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?" "I do," Jennifer said. Her voice was quiet. Jennifer sat down. Rachel stood in front of her. "Miss Walsh, please state your relationship to the parties involved." "I was married to David Morrison for 6 months. I am his ex-wife now." "Did Mr. Morrison tell you about Sarah Morrison?" "Yes. He told me she joined the army and abandoned the family. He said she never called. He said she never wrote letters. He said she did not want the children anymore." "Did you believe him?" "Yes, completely. I had no reason not to believe him." "When did you learn the truth?" "When Sarah showed up at the house on Mother's Day. That was when I realized David had been lying to me about everything." Jennifer started crying. She wiped her eyes with her hand. "He used me. He wanted me to replace Sarah. He made me think I was helping a broken family, but he was the one who broke it." "Thank you, Miss Walsh," Rachel said. "No further questions." Mark Stevens did not ask Jennifer any questions. She stepped down from the witness stand and sat back down on the bench. Judge Chen looked at her papers. "I understand there are 3 minor children involved. Have they been interviewed?" "Yes, Your Honor," Rachel said. "Dr. Amy Torres, a child psychologist, interviewed all 3 children this morning. She has prepared a report." "Bring in Dr. Torres." A side door opened. A woman in her 40s with brown hair walked in. She carried a folder. She walked to the witness stand and was sworn in. "Dr. Torres," Judge Chen said, "what are your findings?" Dr. Torres opened her folder. "I interviewed Emma, Lily, and Jake Morrison separately. Each interview lasted approximately 30 minutes. All 3 children expressed the same information. They stated that their father told them repeatedly that their mother did not love them anymore. They stated that they cried often because they believed their mother abandoned them. When their mother returned, they realized this was not true." Dr. Torres looked up from her notes. "Your Honor, these children experienced significant emotional trauma due to parental alienation. They believed for 2 years that their mother stopped loving them. This was a direct result of Mr. Morrison's actions." "Thank you, Dr. Torres," Judge Chen said. Dr. Torres left the witness stand. Judge Chen looked down at all the papers spread across her desk. She looked at David. Her eyes were cold and hard. Judge Chen said firmly, "Mr. Morrison, I have reviewed all the evidence, and what you did is unforgivable." David sat very still. His face had no expression. His lawyer, Mark Stevens, looked down at the table. The courtroom was completely silent. Judge Chen picked up one of Sarah's letters. She held it up. "I am going to read part of this letter out loud. It is dated March 15th, 2 years ago." The judge began reading. "Dear Emma, Lily, and Jake, Mommy misses you every single day. I saw the most beautiful sunset tonight, and I wished you could see it with me. I am working hard so I can come home to you soon. Please ask Daddy to let me call you. I want to hear your voices so badly. I love you more than anything in this whole world. Forever and always, Mommy." Judge Chen put the letter down. She picked up another one. This letter is dated July 22nd, 1 year ago. She read again. "My sweet babies, I hope you are having fun this summer. Are you going swimming? Are you playing outside? I think about you every morning when I wake up, and every night before I sleep. I sent you pictures of where I work. Did you get them? Please write back to me if you can. I miss you so much. It hurts. Love, Mommy." The judge put that letter down. She looked directly at David. "Mr. Morrison, why did you prevent these letters from reaching your children?" David did not answer right away. Finally, he said, "I thought they would be upset if they kept thinking about her. I thought it was easier if they forgot." "Easier for who?" Judge Chen asked. "Easier for them or easier for you?" David's jaw tightened. "I was doing what I thought was best." "You were not doing what was best," Judge Chen said. Her voice was sharp. "You were deliberately damaging the relationship between these children and their mother. You told them she abandoned them. You told them she did not love them. You blocked her phone calls. You threw away her letters. You deleted her emails. You made your children believe a lie for 2 years." She paused. "This is called parental alienation, Mr. Morrison. In the state of Texas, this is considered a serious form of child abuse. You emotionally abused your own children by taking away their mother." Mark Stevens stood up. "Your Honor, my client made mistakes, but he was not trying to hurt—" "Sit down, Mr. Stevens," Judge Chen said. "I have heard enough." Mark Stevens sat down. Judge Chen looked at her papers again. She took a deep breath. Then she spoke. "I am granting primary custody of Emma, Lily, and Jake Morrison to their mother, Sarah Morrison, effective immediately." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Rachel reached over and squeezed her hand. Barbara let out a quiet sob behind them. Judge Chen continued, "Mr. Morrison, you will be allowed supervised visitation only. Visits will occur twice per month for 2 hours each visit. These visits will take place at the Family Support Center on Lamar Boulevard in Austin. A supervisor will be present at all times." David's face turned red. He leaned over and whispered something to Mark Stevens. Mark shook his head. "Additionally," Judge Chen said, "Mr. Morrison, you are ordered to attend parenting classes for 6 months. You will also attend individual therapy to address your controlling behavior. You will provide proof of attendance to this court every month." She looked at David very seriously. "If you violate any of these orders, if you try to manipulate these children again, if you speak negatively about their mother during your supervised visits, I will terminate your visitation rights completely. Do you understand?" "Yes, Your Honor," David said quietly. "This hearing is concluded." Judge Chen hit her gavel on the desk. "Bailiff, please bring the children to the conference room. Miss Morrison may see them now." Judge Chen stood up. Everyone in the courtroom stood. The judge walked through the door behind her desk. As soon as she left, Sarah started crying. She covered her face with her hands. Rachel hugged her. Barbara rushed forward and wrapped her arms around both of them. "You did it," Barbara said. "You won." Across the room, David stood up. He did not look at anyone. He walked out of the courtroom with Mark Stevens following behind him. Jennifer stood near the back. She watched David leave. Then she walked over to Sarah. "Congratulations," Jennifer said. "I'm glad the judge saw the truth." "Thank you for testifying," Sarah said. "It helped," Jennifer nodded. "I hope the children will be okay now." She looked down. "I'm sorry for everything." "I know you are." Jennifer left the courtroom. Rachel started packing papers back into her briefcase. "That went very well." Judge Chen clearly understood the situation. "Can he appeal?" Sarah asked. "He can try, but the evidence against him is overwhelming. I don't think any judge would overturn this decision." The bailiff came back into the courtroom. "Miss Morrison, the children are ready to see you." Sarah stood up. She followed the bailiff down the hall to a small conference room. She opened the door. Inside, Emma, Lily, and Jake sat at a table. They were coloring pictures. When they saw Sarah, they jumped up and ran to her. "Mommy!" all three of them said at once. Sarah knelt down and hugged them. "Guess what? You are coming to live with me. You are going to stay with me and Grandma Barbara. Is that okay?" "Yes," Emma said. "Can we go now?" "Soon. First, we have to go to the house and get your things. Your clothes and toys, everything you want to bring." "Is Daddy going to be there?" Jake asked. "Maybe, but you don't have to talk to him if you don't want to." Lily held Sarah's hand tight. "I want to stay with you." "You will, baby. I promise." They left the courthouse together. Barbara drove them all back to Austin. The drive took 1 hour and 20 minutes. Sarah sat in the back seat with the triplets this time. They held her hands and leaned against her. When they arrived at the house on Maple Street, David's car was in the driveway. Sarah felt her chest tighten. She did not want to see him, but she needed to get the children's belongings. "Stay in the car with Grandma for just a minute," Sarah told the children. "I will go see if Daddy is home." Sarah walked up the porch steps. She knocked on the door. After a moment, David opened it. His eyes were red. His face looked tired. "I'm here to get the kids' things," Sarah said. Her voice was calm and flat. David did not say anything. He just opened the door wider and stepped aside. Sarah walked into the house. It felt strange to be there again. The Mother's Day decorations were gone. The house was quiet. Sarah went upstairs to the children's bedrooms. She found suitcases in the closet. She started packing clothes. She folded each item carefully. She packed pajamas, shirts, pants, dresses, socks, shoes. She went to the bathroom and got toothbrushes and hairbrushes. She packed stuffed animals and favorite toys. David stood in the doorway watching. "Sarah!" She did not look at him. She kept packing. "I'm sorry," David said. Sarah stopped. She turned around slowly. "You're sorry? You stole 2 years from me. You made our children believe I didn't love them. You lied to everyone. And now you're sorry? I didn't know it would turn out like this. You thought you could erase me. You thought you could replace me with Jennifer. You thought you could rewrite history, and no one would ever know the truth." Sarah zipped up one suitcase. "But I came back, and now everyone knows what you did." David looked down. "Can I see them? Just for a minute?" "The judge said you can see them twice a month at the Family Support Center. That starts next week if you show up." "Please, Sarah. They're my kids, too." "Then you should have acted like their father instead of a controlling liar." Sarah picked up 2 suitcases. She carried them downstairs. She went back up and got 2 more. David did not help. He just stood there, watching. Sarah made 3 trips. She loaded everything into Barbara's car. The children saw the suitcases. "Is that all our stuff?" Emma asked. "Most of it. If you remember something you want later, we can come back and get it." David came out onto the porch. He stood at the top of the steps. The triplets saw him. They looked at him but did not wave. They did not smile. "Can I say goodbye?" David called out. Sarah looked at Emma, Lily, and Jake. "Do you want to say goodbye to your daddy?" Emma shook her head no. Lily looked away. Jake stared at his father, but did not move. "I think that's your answer," Sarah said to David. She got in the car. Barbara started the engine. As they pulled away from the house, Jake looked back one more time. David still stood on the porch. He lifted his hand in a small wave. Jake did not wave back. He turned around in his seat and leaned against his mother. Sarah put her arms around all three children. They drove away from Maple Street, away from the house, away from the lies, away from the pain. That evening, Sarah packed the triplets' belongings from the house on Maple Street, and as she closed the last suitcase, she knew they were finally free. When they arrived back at Barbara's house in San Antonio, it was late afternoon. The children were tired. They helped carry their suitcases inside. Barbara made dinner while Sarah unpacked their clothes. After dinner, Sarah sat at the kitchen table with Barbara. The triplets were in the living room watching a movie. Sarah could hear their voices. They sounded lighter than before. Less sad. "I need to find a place in Austin," Sarah said. "The kids need to be near their school. I need to be close to work." "What about your assignment?" Barbara asked. "Are you still stationed in Germany?" "I put in a transfer request last month. I asked to be assigned to Fort Hood. It's about an hour from Austin. I'm waiting to hear back." "That would be perfect," Sarah nodded. "I need to start looking for an apartment this week, something with 2 bedrooms. I can't afford anything bigger right now. The children can share a room. They'll be fine." The next morning, Sarah drove back to Austin alone. She spent the day looking at apartments. The first 2 were too expensive. The third one was too far from the children's school. The fourth one was dirty and old. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, she visited an apartment near Zilker Park. The building was small and painted light blue. The landlord was a woman in her 60s named Mrs. Chen. "This is a 2-bedroom unit on the 2nd floor," Mrs. Chen said as she unlocked the door. "It just became available last week." Sarah walked inside. The apartment had large windows. Sunlight filled the rooms. There was a small living room, a kitchen, 2 bedrooms, and 1 bathroom. The walls were freshly painted white. The floors were clean. "There's a balcony, too," Mrs. Chen said. She opened a glass door. The balcony was small, but had space for a chair and some plants. Sarah looked around. The apartment was smaller than the house on Maple Street, but it felt warm. It felt safe. "How much is the rent?" Mrs. Chen told her the price. Sarah could afford it. Barely. But she could make it work. "I'll take it," Sarah said. "Wonderful. When do you want to move in?" "As soon as possible. I can have it ready by Friday." "Does that work?" "Yes, thank you." Sarah signed the lease that same day. She paid the deposit and the first month's rent. On Friday morning, she, Barbara, and the triplets moved into the apartment. They did not have much furniture. Barbara brought some chairs and a table from her house. Sarah bought 3 twin beds from a thrift store. They set up 2 beds in 1 bedroom for Emma and Lily. They put 1 bed in the same room for Jake. The children wanted to stay together. "Is this our new home?" Emma asked. She looked around the empty apartment. "Yes, baby. This is our home now." "I like it," Lily said. She ran to the window. "Look, you can see the park from here." Jake opened the closet in their bedroom. "Can we put our toys in here?" "Yes, you can put anything you want in there." They spent the whole day unpacking. Barbara helped hang pictures on the walls. Sarah found old photos of her with the children when they were babies. She put them in frames. By evening, the apartment felt less empty. It felt like a home. That night, Sarah tucked the children into their beds. She kissed each of their foreheads. "Good night, my loves." "Mommy?" Emma said quietly. "Yes? Are you going to leave again?" Sarah's heart broke a little. She sat on the edge of Emma's bed. "No, baby. I'm not going anywhere. I will be here every single day." "Promise?" "I promise." 2 days later, Sarah received a phone call. It was from the Army Personnel Office. Her transfer request had been approved. She would start at Fort Hood the following Monday. Her new position was in logistics coordination. She would work from 8 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening. She would be home by 6 o'clock every night. On Monday morning, Sarah drove to Fort Hood. The drive took 1 hour and 15 minutes. She met her new commanding officer, Colonel James Peterson. He was a tall man in his 50s with gray hair. "Welcome to Fort Hood, Sergeant Morrison," Colonel Peterson said. He shook her hand firmly. "Thank you, sir. I read your service record. Your work in Germany was excellent. We're glad to have you here." "I'm glad to be here, sir." Colonel Peterson showed her to her new office. It was small, but had a window. "You'll be coordinating supply shipments for the base. The hours are regular. You should be able to maintain a good work-life balance." "That's exactly what I need, sir. I have 3 young children." "I saw that in your file. Family comes first, Sergeant. Don't forget that." "I won't, sir." Sarah started working that day. The job was busy, but manageable. At exactly 5 o'clock, she left the base and drove back to Austin. She arrived at the apartment at 6 o'clock. Barbara had picked up the children from school. She had made dinner. The triplets ran to the door when Sarah walked in. "Mommy, you're home!" they all said at once. Sarah hugged them. "I told you I would be home at 6 o'clock. I will always keep my promises." That became their routine. Every morning, Sarah woke up at 6:30. She made breakfast. She helped the children get dressed. She drove them to school at 7:45, then she drove to Fort Hood. Barbara stayed at the apartment during the day. She cleaned and did laundry and prepared dinner. At 3 o'clock, Barbara picked up Emma, Lily, and Jake from school. They did homework together. They had snacks. They played outside if the weather was nice. Sarah arrived home every evening at 6 o'clock. They ate dinner together at the kitchen table. They talked about their days. After dinner, they watched TV or played board games. At 8 o'clock, Sarah gave the children baths. At 8:30, she tucked them into bed. She read them a story. She always ended the same way. "I will always come back for my babies. No matter where I am, I love you." And the triplets would whisper back, "We love you too, Mommy." On Thursday of that first week, Sarah took the children to see Dr. Amy Torres. The appointment was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Dr. Torres's office was in a building downtown. The waiting room had toys and books. Emma, Lily, and Jake looked nervous. "Is this the doctor we talked to at the courthouse?" Emma asked. "Yes," Sarah said. "She's very nice. She just wants to talk to you about your feelings. She's here to help." Dr. Torres came out to greet them. She had a kind smile. "Hi, Emma, Lily. Jake, do you remember me?" The children nodded. "I'm going to talk to each of you separately. It won't take long, and everything you tell me is private. Okay?" "Okay," Emma said quietly. Dr. Torres took Emma first. They went into the office together. 20 minutes later, Emma came out. She did not look upset. She actually looked a little relieved. Then Lily went in. Then Jake. When all 3 children were finished, Dr. Torres spoke to Sarah privately. "How are they doing?" Sarah asked. "They're struggling with trust. They believed for 2 years that you abandoned them. Even though they understand now that it wasn't true, that belief caused damage. They're afraid you'll leave again. What can I do? Keep your promises, every single one. If you say you'll be home at 6 o'clock, be home at 6 o'clock. If you say you'll go to the park on Saturday, go to the park on Saturday. They need to relearn that they can trust you. I will, I promise. I recommend weekly sessions for at least 3 months. We'll reassess after that. Sarah scheduled appointments for every Thursday at 4 o'clock. Over the next 2 weeks, small changes appeared. Emma started smiling more. She drew pictures at the kitchen table. She drew their new apartment. She drew the 4 of them holding hands. Lily started singing songs. She sang in the car. She sang in the bathtub. She sang while doing homework. Jake's nightmares became less frequent. He slept through the night most of the time. One evening, Sarah brought out a large box. She placed it on the kitchen table. I want to show you something. The children gathered around. Sarah opened the box. Inside were letters, hundreds of letters, all in envelopes, all addressed to Emma, Lily, and Jake. These are the letters I wrote to you, Sarah said. I made copies of every single one. I want you to have them now. Emma picked up one letter. She opened it carefully. She read it slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. You really did write to us. Every single week, baby. Sometimes twice a week. Lily picked up another letter. Jake picked up a third. They sat at the table reading. Sarah sat with them. Barbara made tea and watched from the kitchen. Can we read one every night before bed? Emma asked. Yes, we can read as many as you want. That night, Sarah read 3 letters out loud before tucking them in. The children listened carefully. When she finished, Jake said, I'm sorry we thought you didn't love us. That wasn't your fault. Your daddy lied to you. But now you know the truth. I never stopped loving you. Not for 1 second. 2 weeks later, on a Thursday morning, Sarah's phone buzzed while she was at work. It was a message from the Family Support Center on Lamar Boulevard. She opened the message and read it slowly. Mr. David Morrison has requested to schedule his first supervised visit with Emma, Lily, and Jake Morrison. Please respond to confirm availability. Sarah stared at the message for a long time before typing her response. Sarah typed back a simple reply. Available Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning. That evening, Sarah sat with Emma, Lily, and Jake in the living room. She turned off the television. The children looked at her with curious faces. I need to talk to you about something, Sarah said. Your daddy wants to see you. The court says he can visit you twice a month. The visits will be at a special place called the Family Support Center. Someone will be there watching the whole time to make sure everything is okay. Emma's face tightened. Do we have to go? Yes. The judge says you have to. But I will bring you there and pick you up. You will only be there for 2 hours. Then you come right back home with me. I don't want to see him, Lily said quietly. He lied to us. I know, baby. But this is what the court decided. I'll be in the waiting room the whole time. If anything happens, if you feel scared or uncomfortable, you can tell the supervisor and she will come get me. Jake did not say anything. He just stared at the floor. On Saturday morning, Sarah drove the children to the Family Support Center on Lamar Boulevard. The building was small and painted light blue. There was a parking lot in front. Sarah parked the car. She looked at the children in the back seat. Are you ready? She asked. No, Emma said. I know, but remember, I'll be right here waiting. 2 hours, that's all. They walked inside together. The building had a small waiting room with chairs and magazines. There was a door that led to a larger room with toys and books. A woman in her 50s stood near the door. She had short red hair and wore a yellow shirt. Hello, the woman said with a warm smile. "You must be the Morrison family. I'm Mrs. Karen Thompson. I'll be supervising the visit today." "I'm Sarah Morrison," Sarah said. "These are my children, Emma, Lily, and Jake." Mrs. Thompson knelt down to the children's level. "Hi there, I know this might feel a little strange today, but I promise this is a safe place. If you need anything at all, you can tell me. Okay?" The children nodded, but did not speak. Mrs. Thompson stood up and looked at Sarah. "The visit is scheduled for 2 hours. Mr. Morrison should arrive at 10 o'clock. During the visit, I will be in the room at all times. He cannot ask the children questions about you or your home. He cannot say anything negative. If he breaks any rules, the visit ends immediately." "Thank you," Sarah said. "You can wait here in the waiting room. There's coffee and water on that table." Sarah hugged each of her children. "I'll be right here. I'm not leaving." Mrs. Thompson led Emma, Lily, and Jake through the door. Sarah sat down in a chair. She looked at the clock on the wall. It was exactly 10 o'clock in the morning. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. At 10:15, the front door opened. David walked in. He wore jeans and a blue shirt. He carried a bag. Sarah did not look at him. He did not look at her. He walked past her to where Mrs. Thompson waited. "You're late, Mr. Morrison," Mrs. Thompson said firmly. "Sorry, traffic. The visit time starts at 10 o'clock, whether you are here or not. You now have 1 hour and 45 minutes. David nodded. Mrs. Thompson opened the door. David walked through. The door closed behind him. Inside the room, Emma, Lily, and Jake sat together on a couch. They held hands. David saw them and smiled, but his smile looked forced and uncomfortable. "Hi, kids," he said. "I brought you some things." He reached into the bag. He pulled out 3 coloring books. He pulled out a box of crayons. He pulled out candy bars. "I thought you might like these," David said. He held them out. The children did not move. Emma looked at the coloring books, but did not reach for them. Lily stared at the floor. Jake watched his father, but his expression was blank. David set the items on a small table. He pulled a chair over and sat down across from the couch. Mrs. Thompson stood near the window. She held a clipboard. "So," David said, "how is school?" "Fine," Emma said. Her voice was flat. "What are you learning?" "Reading, math." "That's good. That's really good." Silence filled the room. David shifted in his chair. "How about you, Lily? How is school for you?" "Okay," Lily whispered. She did not look up. David looked at Jake. "What about you, buddy?" Jake did not answer. "Jake?" David said again. "He heard you," Emma said. "He just doesn't want to talk." David's face turned slightly red. He cleared his throat. "Do you want to play a game? I saw some board games over there." "No, thank you," Emma said. Another long silence. David picked up one of the coloring books. "Maybe we could color together?" The children did not respond. David opened the box of crayons. He spread them on the table. "Come on, let's just try." Slowly, Emma stood up. She walked to the table, and she sat down. She picked up a crayon, but she did not start coloring. She just held it. Lily and Jake stayed on the couch. "You two can come color too," David said. They shook their heads. David tried to make conversation. "Your new apartment sounds nice. Is it close to a park?" Emma looked at Mrs. Thompson. Mrs. Thompson spoke up. "Mr. Morrison, you cannot ask questions about their living situation. I was just making conversation. Please stay within the guidelines." David pressed his lips together. He looked frustrated. He looked at the coloring book in front of him. He started coloring a picture of a dog. Emma watched him but did not color. After 10 minutes of silence, Jake spoke. His voice was small but clear. "Why did you lie about Mommy?" David stopped coloring. He looked up at Jake. Mrs. Thompson watched carefully. "What?" David asked. "You told us Mommy didn't love us. You said she left us. But she didn't. She wrote us letters. She called us. You stopped her." Jake's eyes filled with tears. "Why did you do that?" David put down his crayon. His face turned red. "Jake, I made a mistake. I thought I was doing what was best for you." "You weren't doing what was best," Emma said. Her voice was stronger than Jake's. "You were mean. You made us sad." Mrs. Thompson watched David carefully. "Mr. Morrison, you need to answer carefully." David rubbed his face. "I'm sorry. I know I hurt you. I know I made bad choices. I was angry, and I did something very wrong." "Do you still think Mommy is bad?" Lily asked. She finally looked up at him. "No, your Mommy is not bad. She never was. I was wrong to say those things." Emma stood up. "I don't believe you." "Emma, please. You're only saying sorry because the judge made you. You don't really mean it." David reached out his hand. "That's not true. I do mean it." Emma stepped back. "I want to go back to the waiting room." Mrs. Thompson stepped forward. "The visit isn't over yet, Emma. You have 1 more hour." "I don't want to be here." "I understand. But the court requires the full 2 hours unless there is a safety issue. Are you feeling unsafe?" Emma hesitated. "No, I just don't want to be here. I know this is hard, but let's try to get through the rest of the time. You can sit on the couch if you don't want to color." Emma walked back to the couch. She sat between Lily and Jake. All 3 children held hands again. They did not look at David. David tried several more times to start conversations. He asked about their favorite TV shows. He asked if they liked their new beds. He asked if they wanted to hear about his new apartment. The children gave one-word answers or stayed silent. The 2 hours felt very long. When Mrs. Thompson finally said, "Time is up," all 3 children stood immediately. They walked quickly to the door. "Wait," David said. "Can I give you a hug goodbye?" Emma shook her head. "No. Please, just a quick hug." "We don't want to," Lily said. Jake opened the door and walked out. Emma and Lily followed. Sarah was already standing in the waiting room. When the children saw her, they ran to her. They grabbed onto her. She wrapped her arms around them. "It's okay," Sarah said softly. "You're done. Let's go home." She looked up. David stood in the doorway. He watched them. His face looked sad and tired. Sarah did not say anything to him. She just took the children's hands and walked out of the building. In the car, Jake buckled his seatbelt. He looked at Sarah in the front seat. "Mommy, I don't want to visit Daddy again." Sarah started the engine. "I know, baby, but the judge says you have to visit twice a month. We'll get through it together." Over the next 3 months, the visits continued every other Saturday. Each visit was the same. David tried to connect with the children. They stayed distant and polite. They answered his questions with short responses. They did not play games with him. They did not color with him. They sat on the couch and waited for the 2 hours to pass. By the 4th visit, Emma started calling him David instead of Daddy. Lily did the same. Jake followed. David noticed, but said nothing. After 6 months, David missed a visit. Sarah brought the children to the center, but David never showed up. Mrs. Thompson called his phone. No answer. 2 weeks later, the next scheduled visit came. Again, David did not appear. After the 3rd missed visit, the Family Support Center called Sarah. David had stopped coming entirely, and the children no longer asked where he was. Sarah sat at the kitchen table one evening after the 3rd missed visit. Emma, Lily, and Jake were doing homework. Barbara was washing dishes. Sarah looked at the children and spoke gently. "Can we talk about something?" The children looked up from their papers. "Your daddy has not come to the visits for 3 weeks now. The court says he is supposed to visit you twice a month, but he is not showing up. How do you feel about that?" Emma put down her pencil. "I don't care." "Are you sure? It's okay if you feel sad or confused." "I'm not sad," Emma said. "I don't want to see him anyway." Sarah looked at Lily. "What about you, honey?" Lily shrugged. "I don't miss him." Jake did not say anything at first. Then he spoke quietly. "Is he mad at us?" Sarah's heart squeezed. "Oh, baby, no. This is not about you. Your daddy is dealing with his own problems. This has nothing to do with you." "Then why doesn't he come?" "I don't know. But I want you to understand something very important. You did nothing wrong. None of this is your fault." Jake nodded slowly, but he still looked confused. That Thursday, they went to their weekly appointment with Dr. Amy Torres. Sarah sat in the waiting room while Dr. Torres spoke with each child separately. When all 3 children were finished, Dr. Torres called Sarah into her office. "They're doing much better," Dr. Torres said. "Emma is expressing her feelings more clearly. Lily's anxiety has decreased significantly. Jake's nightmares have almost stopped completely." "That's good to hear," Sarah said. "But Jake asked me if his father is mad at them. The missed visits are confusing him." "That's normal. Children often blame themselves when a parent withdraws. But the good news is that Jake is asking questions instead of keeping his feelings inside. That's progress." "What should I do about the missed visits?" "You should go back to court. Document everything. The children need closure. If their father is not going to be present in their lives, that needs to be made official so they can move forward." Sarah called Rachel Gomez the next morning. Rachel answered on the second ring. "Rachel, it's Sarah Morrison." "Hi, Sarah. How are the kids?" "They're doing well. But David has missed 3 supervised visits in a row. He's not responding to calls from the Family Support Center. I don't know what to do." We go back to court. "Has he completed his required parenting classes?" "I don't think so. The court was supposed to receive monthly updates, but I haven't heard anything." "Let me look into it. I'll file a motion for a compliance hearing. If he's not following the court's orders, Judge Chen needs to know." Rachel filed the motion on Monday. The court scheduled a hearing for 2 weeks later. Sarah received a notification in the mail. David received one too. On the day of the hearing, Sarah arrived at the Travis County Courthouse at 9 o'clock in the morning. Rachel was already there. Barbara came too for support. They sat on a bench in the hallway waiting for the courtroom to open. At 9:15, David arrived. He walked slowly down the hall. He looked different. His hair was messy. His shirt was wrinkled. He had dark circles under his eyes. Mark Stevens was not with him. David was alone. The bailiff opened the courtroom doors at 9:25. Everyone walked inside. Judge Chen entered at exactly 9:30. "All rise," the bailiff said. Everyone stood. Judge Chen sat down. She looked at the papers in front of her. "Please be seated. This is a compliance hearing for the Morrison custody case. Miss Gomez, you filed the motion. Please state your concerns." Rachel stood. "Your Honor, Mr. Morrison has failed to attend 3 consecutive supervised visits with his children. He has also failed to provide proof of completion of court-ordered parenting classes. We request that the court review his visitation rights." Judge Chen looked at David. "Mr. Morrison, where is your attorney?" David stood. "I couldn't afford him anymore, Your Honor." "Are you representing yourself today?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Did you miss 3 supervised visits?" "Yes." "Why?" David was quiet for a moment. "I couldn't face them. They don't want to see me. They call me David instead of Daddy. They won't talk to me. It's too hard." Judge Chen's expression hardened. "Mr. Morrison, those visits were ordered by this court. Your feelings do not matter. You are required to attend." "I know. I'm sorry. Have you completed your parenting classes? No, Your Honor. Have you attended therapy as ordered? I went twice, then I stopped. Judge Chen shook her head. Mr. Morrison, you have violated multiple court orders. You were given a chance to repair your relationship with your children. You chose not to take that chance. I tried, but they hate me. They do not hate you. They are hurt and confused because you spent 2 years lying to them. That damage takes time to heal, but you gave up? David looked down at the floor. Judge Chen turned to Rachel. What is your client requesting? My client requests that the court make the custody arrangement permanent. Full custody to Sarah Morrison with no visitation rights for David Morrison unless he petitions the court in the future and can prove he has completed all required classes and therapy. Judge Chen nodded. Mr. Morrison, do you wish to contest this request? David shook his head. No, Your Honor. You understand that if I grant this, you will have no legal visitation rights? You will not see your children unless you petition this court and I decide to grant you another chance. Yes, Your Honor. I understand. Judge Chen wrote something on her papers. Then she looked up. I am granting full permanent custody to Sarah Morrison, effective immediately. David Morrison's visitation rights are terminated. If Mr. Morrison wishes to petition for visitation in the future, he must provide proof of completed parenting classes, 6 months of therapy, and a letter from a licensed therapist stating he is emotionally prepared to have a relationship with his children. This hearing is concluded. She hit her gavel on the desk. David did not move. He just stood there, staring at nothing. Sarah felt relief wash over her. Rachel squeezed her shoulder. Barbara wiped tears from her eyes. They left the courtroom. David was still inside. Sarah did not look back. That evening, Sarah told the children what happened. They sat together in the living room. She explained that the judge said they did not have to visit their father anymore. Is he ever coming back? Jake asked. Only if he fixes himself first, and only if the judge says it's okay. But that might not happen for a long time. Maybe never. Emma nodded. That's okay. We have you. Life moved forward. Barbara continued visiting every weekend. She brought groceries. She cooked meals. She played games with the children. The triplets started calling her grandma more often. They hugged her when she arrived. They were sad when she left. 1 month later, Sarah received a phone call from Colonel Peterson at Fort Hood. Sergeant Morrison, I have good news. You're being promoted to Staff Sergeant. Your work has been exemplary. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Your new pay grade starts next month. With the promotion came more money. Not a lot, but enough to make a difference. Sarah started looking for a bigger place. The children were growing. They needed more space. She found a small house near Zilker Park. It had 3 bedrooms and a backyard. The rent was more expensive, but she could afford it now. She signed the lease, and they moved in 2 weeks later. For the first time, Emma, Lily, and Jake each had their own room. Emma painted her walls light purple. Lily chose yellow. Jake chose blue. They decorated with posters and toys. They loved having their own space. Sarah's life fell into a comfortable rhythm. She worked at Fort Hood every day. She came home at 6 o'clock every evening. They ate dinner together. They did homework. They talked about their days. The children smiled more. They laughed more. They slept peacefully at night. Meanwhile, David's life fell apart. He stopped going to work. He got fired from his job at the tech company. His friends learned what he did to Sarah and the children. They stopped calling him. They stopped inviting him to gatherings. He moved to a smaller apartment across town. He spent most days alone. One afternoon, David saw Emma, Lily, and Jake at a grocery store. They were with Sarah. The children were laughing. They looked happy. David started to walk toward them. Then he stopped. He watched from behind a shelf. Sarah put items in the cart. The children helped. They looked like a real family. A family that did not include him. David turned and walked out of the store. He did not approach them. In Houston, Jennifer started over. She found a teaching job at an elementary school. She rented a small apartment downtown. She went to therapy every week to process what happened. Her therapist helped her understand that she was a victim of David's manipulation. She learned to forgive herself. After 6 months, she started dating again. She moved slowly. She asked more questions. She trusted her instincts. She never called David. She never went back to Austin. She started a new life, completely separate from the pain. 1 year after Sarah returned home, Mother's Day arrived again. Emma, Lily, and Jake woke up early. They snuck into the kitchen with Barbara's help. Together, they made breakfast. Scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice. They set the table with flowers from the backyard. Then they worked on handmade cards. Emma drew a picture of their family holding hands in front of their house. She wrote "Best Mommy in the World" in big letters. Lily wrote a poem about how much she loved her mommy. Jake drew a picture of Sarah in her military uniform and wrote, "You are the strongest mommy ever." When Sarah woke up, they surprised her with breakfast in bed and the cards. Sarah read each card slowly. Tears filled her eyes. Happy tears this time. "Thank you, my babies," she whispered. "This is perfect." After breakfast, they went to Zilker Park for a picnic, and as Sarah watched her children run and play in the sunshine, she knew they had finally found peace. They spread a blanket on the grass under a large oak tree. Barbara unpacked sandwiches and fruit. The children ran toward the playground. Sarah watched them climb on the equipment. They looked so different from 1 year ago. Their faces were lighter. Their smiles were real. "They're doing so well," Barbara said. She sat next to Sarah on the blanket. "They are," Sarah agreed. "I'm so grateful. You fought for them. You never gave up. That's why they're okay now." Sarah looked at her mother. "I couldn't have done this without you, Mom. You were there the whole time. You kept me connected to them when David tried to erase me." Barbara squeezed Sarah's hand. "That's what mothers do. We protect our children. Always." They ate lunch together. The children came back to the blanket sweaty and tired. They drank juice boxes and ate sandwiches. Emma told a story about something funny that happened at school. Lily sang part of a song she learned in music class. Jake showed Sarah a rock he found that was shaped like a heart. "Can I keep it, Mommy?" Jake asked. "Of course, baby." After lunch, they flew a kite. The wind was strong. The kite soared high in the sky. The children took turns holding the string. They laughed when the kite dipped and spun. Sarah took photos with her phone. She wanted to remember this day forever. By late afternoon, they were all tired. They packed up the blanket and the leftover food. They drove back home. The children fell asleep in the car. When they arrived at the house, Sarah carried Jake inside. Barbara helped Emma and Lily. They laid the children on their beds. They were so tired they did not even wake up. That evening, after the children woke from their naps, they watched a movie together. Sarah made popcorn. They sat on the couch with a big bowl between them. It was a movie about a family going on an adventure. The children loved it. They asked Sarah questions during the movie. She answered each one patiently. At 8 o'clock, Sarah gave them baths. Emma was old enough to wash herself now, but Sarah still helped with her hair. Lily needed help rinsing the soap. Jake splashed in the water and made Sarah laugh. At 8:30, Sarah tucked them into their beds. She went to Emma's room first. Emma was lying under her purple blanket. She looked at Sarah with sleepy eyes. "Mommy, today was the best Mother's Day ever," Emma said. "It was perfect," Sarah agreed. She kissed Emma's forehead. "I'm so proud of you. You're doing so well in school. You're kind to your sister and brother. You're growing into such a wonderful person." "I love you, Mommy." "I love you too, Emma. Sweet dreams." Sarah went to Lily's room next. Lily had already picked out a book from her shelf. "Will you read to me?" "Of course." Sarah sat on the edge of the bed. She read the book slowly. It was about a little bird learning to fly. When she finished, Lily yawned. "Mommy, will you always be here?" Lily asked. "Yes, baby. I will always be here, I promise. Even if you have to go to work. Even then, I'll always come home, every single day at 6 o'clock. Lily smiled. "Okay, I believe you." Sarah kissed her goodnight and turned off the light. In Jake's room, Jake was already lying down. He held the heart-shaped rock from the park. "That was a good rock you found," Sarah said. She sat next to him. "I want to keep it forever. Then we'll put it somewhere special, maybe on your dresser." Jake nodded. "Mommy, I don't have bad dreams anymore." "I know. That makes me so happy. Dr. Torres says I'm doing really good. You are doing really good. I'm so proud of you." Jake reached up and hugged Sarah. She held him tight. Then she laid him back down and covered him with his blanket. "I will always come back for my babies," Sarah said. "No matter where I am, I love you." "I love you too, Mommy," Jake whispered. Sarah turned off the light and closed the door softly. She walked back to the living room. Barbara was washing the popcorn bowl in the kitchen. "They're all asleep?" Barbara asked. "Yes, they had a big day. So did you." Sarah sat at the kitchen table. She felt tired, but happy. "Mom, do you think they'll be okay? Long term?" "Yes," Barbara said firmly. "They have you. They have me. They have Dr. Torres helping them. They have stability and love. They will be okay." The next Thursday, Sarah took the children to their appointment with Dr. Amy Torres. It had been 1 year and 2 months since they started therapy. The children went into the office one at a time without hesitation now. They liked Dr. Torres. They trusted her. After all 3 children finished their sessions, Dr. Torres asked to speak with Sarah privately. Sarah sat in the chair across from Dr. Torres's desk. "Sarah, I have wonderful news," Dr. Torres said. "The children are doing exceptionally well. They have processed the trauma. They have rebuilt trust. Their anxiety levels are normal. Their emotional regulation is strong." "That's great to hear. I don't think they need weekly therapy anymore." Sarah felt surprised. "Really?" "Yes, we can move to monthly check-ins for the next 3 months. After that, if they continue doing well, we can discontinue therapy completely." Sarah felt tears prick her eyes. They've come so far. "They have, and so have you. You did everything right. You kept your promises. You gave them stability. You showed them love every single day. That's what they needed. Thank you for helping them, for helping us. It was my honor." That evening, Sarah told the children they only needed to see Dr. Torres once a month now. Emma cheered. Lily clapped her hands. Jake asked if that meant they were all better. "It means you're healing," Sarah said, "and you're doing a really good job." Over the next few months, life continued smoothly. Emma turned 8 years old. Her birthday party was at the house with 10 friends from school. They played games in the backyard. They ate cake and ice cream. Emma blew out 8 candles and made a wish. Later, she told Sarah her wish was for their family to stay happy forever. Lily joined the school choir. She had a concert in November. Sarah sat in the front row and recorded the whole performance on her phone. Lily sang beautifully. When she saw Sarah in the audience, she smiled so big. Jake started playing soccer at a local recreation center. He was not very good at first, but he loved running on the field. Sarah went to every single game. She cheered loudly from the sidelines. After each game, win or lose, she told Jake she was proud of him. At Fort Hood, Sarah's work continued to go well. Colonel Peterson gave her more responsibilities. She coordinated supply shipments for the entire base. She managed a team of 6 soldiers. She received excellent performance reviews. She was being considered for another promotion. Barbara kept visiting every weekend. Sometimes she stayed Friday through Sunday. She had her own room in the house now. The children loved having her there. They baked cookies together. They gardened together. They watched old movies together. On Thanksgiving, Sarah hosted dinner at their house. Barbara brought her famous stuffing. Sarah made turkey and mashed potatoes. The children helped set the table. They said what they were thankful for before eating. Emma was thankful for their home. Lily was thankful for music and Grandma. Jake was thankful for soccer and Mommy. Sarah was thankful for second chances. In December, Dr. Torres had the final check-in appointment with the children. After speaking with each of them, she met with Sarah one last time. "They're ready," Dr. Torres said. "They don't need therapy anymore. They're healthy, well-adjusted children. You did it, Sarah." "We did it," Sarah corrected. "Thank you for everything." They shook hands. As Sarah left the office with Emma, Lily, and Jake, she realized this was the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. On Christmas morning, the children woke up early. They ran to the living room. Sarah had put up a tree with lights and ornaments. Presents sat underneath. The children opened their gifts with excitement. Emma got new books. Lily got a keyboard to practice music. Jake got a soccer ball and new cleats. But the best gift was not under the tree. It was the feeling in the house, the warmth, the laughter, the safety, the love. That night, Sarah tucked each child into bed, like she did every night. When she came to Jake's room, he looked at her seriously. "Mommy, are you happy?" he asked. Sarah smiled. "Yes, baby. I'm very happy." "Are you happy?" "Yes. I'm happy we have you." Sarah kissed his forehead. She said the words she said every night. "I will always come back for my babies, no matter where I am. I love you." "We love you too, Mommy." Sarah walked to the hallway and stood there for a moment. She looked at the 3-bedroom doors. She thought about everything that happened. The deployment, the lies, the separation, the fight, the victory, the healing. She thought about David. She wondered where he was, if he was okay, if he regretted what he did. But those thoughts did not last long. He made his choices. She made hers. Her choice was to fight for her children. And she won. She thought about Jennifer. She hoped Jennifer was happy now. She hoped Jennifer had found peace. But mostly, Sarah thought about Emma, Lily, and Jake. 3 children who were lied to. 3 children who believed their mother stopped loving them. 3 children who cried themselves to sleep for months. 3 children who were hurt deeply by the person who should have protected them. Those same 3 children now slept peacefully in their beds. They smiled during the day. They laughed often. They trusted their mother completely. They knew the truth now. They knew they were loved. They knew they were safe. Sarah whispered to herself in the quiet hallway, "We made it." She knew that a mother's love could survive anything. Distance could not break it. Lies could not destroy it. Time could not erase it. A mother's love was forever, and nothing, absolutely nothing, could change that truth. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen